Welcome to the stream. Hopefully the sound is all right. I've had some issues with my microphone lately, but hopefully it will be better on this stream. Game Week 2 deadline is 1 day away, 23 hours, 40 minutes. Really looking forward to Game Week 2, to be honest. Can't really wait for the games to start. Had a terrible Game Week 1, ranked 9 million. FPL FOMO, I managed to last 4 days without knee-jerking players in and out. That's really good. I have been tempted to make a couple of transfers myself, but I have actually managed to save my transfer. I will probably just save and roll and play this team in Game Week 2. I think it looks okay on paper. Of course, it's relying on Burnley to do well against Sunderland. Really need a clean sheet. That would be really great for my rank. I will start Dubravka and Esteve in that fixture. Diouf, tough game against Chelsea. So this is probably something I usually try to avoid this, but I will have Diouf playing against Cole Palmer. Could, of course, go for Van de Ven, but then again, I would have Marmouche playing against Van de Ven. So Diouf against Cole Palmer, hopefully both can get an attacking return in that fixture. I will have Virgil van Dijk and Wirtz playing against Newcastle. Hopefully, I'm actually hoping that Newcastle can do well in this fixture. I'm hoping for a Mo Salah blank in Game Week 2. It was so frustrating watching that Liverpool game last Friday. All went so well in the first game in Game Week 1. Van Dijk, he was just racking up defensive contributions. I was so satisfied with my team. But in the 95th minute, Salah scored. And of course, this was bad for my rank as a Salah non-owner. Cole Palmer, blank. Marmouche, blank. He was actually benched, so this was disappointing. I was really hoping that Marmouche could be a starter for Man City, but I think that if Marmouche is benched next game week, in Game Week 2, I will probably have to transfer him out. Saka, blank for him as well. He will be my captain in Game Week 2, so hopefully he can deliver at home against Leeds. All of my forwards blanked as well. Jared Bowen, Watkins and Mateta. I still think that they are solid FPL picks. Just think that last game week was, of course, one of my... I can't really remember having a 9 million rank, so was a bit unlucky last game week, I'd say. Kanchi FPL, hello. Thanks for joining in. Are you ready for Game Week 2? My captain will be Saka. Let's have a quick look in the poll. Haaland, 67%. Haaland is the favorite in the poll. Definitely gets the Haaland captaincy at home against Spurs. But I don't really think that the game against Spurs for Man City is that good compared to the end of last season. Actually, from Game Week 30 and until the end, I actually started targeting players that was going up against Spurs. I don't really see this being the case under Thomas Frank this season, but of course, Man City at home against Spurs is a good fixture for Haaland. Marmouche pick must hurt. You sure you're gonna hold? I think I made a decision to just hold in Game Week 2. He is actually in some of the predicted starting 11s for Game Week 2. So I actually talked about this 5 minutes ago, just before you joined in, Kanji, that if Marmouche is benched for Game Week 2, I will probably just have to sell him. I'm really tempted by Bruno Fernandes, so I will potentially make a double transfer to upgrade Marmouche to Bruno Fernandes. The initial plan was actually to bench boost in game week 2. The bench boost is delayed, of course. Will not bench boost with this team at the moment. Cells playing against Mateta. Arias, he was benched in game week 1 as well. I think he will be a starter for Wolves, but I'm not 100% sure he will start in game week 2. Van de Ven, tough game against Man City, and of course Kansa is suspended, so good luck this week. I'm very jealous of your cap. Yeah, this is actually one of the reasons why I included Saka in my game week 1 team, to have a strong captain differential in game week 2. So hopefully this will work out. I really need a good game week 2. But thanks and best of luck in game week 2 to you as well. Hopefully Saka can do well. I actually made... Let's have a quick look. I can put it up on the screen. Give me a couple of seconds. This is actually how Leeds performed in game week 1. They actually had a solid defensive performance against Everton, but I watched that game. It actually was kind of a boring game. Everton didn't offer much going forward, so Leeds, they are the best team when we consider defensive stats from game week 1, but this is only one game week of data, so it's definitely not enough to just make our picks based on those stats. Thoughts on bench boost with Cells, Nico Williams, Diouf and King? I think there will be better weeks. Of course, all of them are fit, so that's a good start for the bench boost, but Diouf, I have Diouf in my starting 11, but I'm not feeling confident. West Ham against Chelsea. At the same time, I think that when you take a look at my team, my plan was actually to bench boost in game week 2, but Kansa picked up a red card. In another game week, one of your players can pick up injuries, suspension, stuff like that. So I think that if you have 4 players on your bench that definitely will start, I think that playing your bench boost probably is a good idea. My plan was actually to just play the bench boost early on in the season. I would actually like to downgrade RS to a 4.5, but I will wait until I've played my bench boost. Erling Haaland, he is the bookie's favorite for anytime goal scorer in game week 2. So of course it makes sense to, if you have Haaland, it makes sense to give him the captain's armband. Good fixture at home against Spurs. 60% chance of a Haaland goal. Gyökeres is 55, Watkins 42. So it's quite a distance between Haaland 60 and down to Watkins 42. The bookies really believe in Erling Haaland this game week. Clean sheet odds, Arsenal, they are top 51%, Chelsea 38%, and Bournemouth, they are third with 35% chance of a clean sheet. My initial plan was to bench boost this game week and sell Saka next game week to bring in Bruno Fernandes. Man United have a good fixture in game week 3 against Burnley, so if Saka does well in game week 2, he hopefully will. He will be my captain. So the plan was to sell Saka, but I will probably try to find a way to sell Marmoush instead. I think I made the wrong choice with Kirkis. Should I give it one more time or bring in Kukurea, Van Dijk, Ait Nouri? I would definitely give Kirkis one more chance. He will probably start. And it was a bit unlucky, of course, for Kirkis and Frimpong owners in game week 1 that he only played 59 minutes, but I would give Kirkis one more go. We know at this stage that we got the news today that Frimpong is injured, so we know that Connor Bradley, he has been injured as well. Joe Gomez has been injured as well. So I think that Kirkis will start in game week 2. So if you have Kirkis, just keep him and save the transfer. How are you? Hello, Virat. Thanks for joining in Head-to-Head League. What is that? If you're interested, go join the Head-to-Head League. It's like a league with another scoring system compared to the classic mini leagues. So before every game week, all the contestants in the league will be drawn against each other. And it's like actually the league table in the Premier League. So let's say that we are playing against each other, Virat, and if you get 60 points and if I get 50 points in game week 2, then you will get 3 points. Thoughts on Rodgers for game week 2? Good option, really good option. Brentford, they did not look good in game week 1, so I think that the fixture for Aston Villa in game week 2 is really good. So Rodgers, 7 million, really good option in game week 2, in my opinion. Frimpong injury, what to get, Ait Nouri or Van Dijk or Pedro Porro? If you have Frimpong and if you have a free transfer, Ait Nouri would definitely be my transfer target for game week 2. I think that Liverpool, they have kind of tough fixtures, and Pedro Porro and Spurs, I will be really, really surprised if they keep a clean sheet against Man City. So Ait Nouri, Van Dijk and Pedro Porro for game week 2. Ait Nouri would be my choice. Bench boost in game week 2. Definitely if you're planning to play your bench boosts, and if you have Frimpong, he is a sell. And as mentioned, Ait Nouri would be my replacement. He did really well actually in game week 1, picked up defensive contribution points, bonus points as well, and we know that he will contribute with attacking returns later on as well. Matthew, okay, cool, thanks. No worries. Rodgers, he is one of the most nailed-on players in the league. Actually, as long as he's fit, he will always be a good option, in my opinion. Reinders, the 5.5 or the 5.6 midfielder from Man City, is close to 1 million transfers in ahead of game week 1. Frimpong, close to 500,000 transfers out. So I think that just after one game week, a lot of managers lost patience with Wirtz. I'm really hoping that he can deliver going forward. I just today had a look at his stats. He didn't actually do that bad in game week 1. He was one of the most creative players on the pitch with the highest expected assists in game week 1 for Liverpool. So hopefully he can deliver in game week 2 and the next game weeks going forward. So I will keep Wirtz in my team. But in game week 1, I actually only got 28 points. But when I look at this team for game week 2, I actually think that there are solid FPL picks. Of course, we knew that Marmoush was kind of a risky pick. Wirtz, new signing as well, but Mateta, Watkins, Jared Bowen, Cole Palmer, Saka, Van Dijk, all really good FPL options. But problem for me, of course, is that they did not perform in game week 1. I only got a clean sheet from Van de Ven, and he will be benched for me in game week 2. I think Szoboszlai might play right back and Bradley Frimpong injured and Gomez just returning. Yeah, that might be the case. Szoboszlai might actually take that right back spot. Slot said today that Bradley has actually participated in training, but he didn't clarify if it was a whole training session or just parts of it. So Frimpong is definitely out. Bradley can actually be on the bench and get some minutes, but we just discussed Kirkis. So if I had Kirkis in my team, I would just keep him. I think he will start in game week 2. And Mark, as you say, Gomez, he's just returning from injury. I think this is the same as with Bradley. So Gomez, Bradley, they are returning from injuries, but they are not fit to start in game week 2. Frimpong, he is definitely out, so it might well be Szoboszlai starting in a more defensive position in game week 2. Ait Nouri is actually, we just discussed Ait Nouri as well. He is one of the defenders on my watch list. Did really well in game week 1. And if Man City can keep getting clean sheets, then he will be good value even at 6 million. The next player on my defender watch list is actually Schär, the Newcastle defender. I wouldn't necessarily buy him for game week 2. They have a tough game against Liverpool, but he looked really good as well. Attacking threats on corners. He will take some free kicks as well. And he was really close to pick up defensive contribution points. I think that he was on 11 in game week 1. So I think that Schär is a good option going forward, but probably from game week 3. Ekitike did well for me in game week 1. Yeah, he did really well. He looked good as well. Great energy, and he was like ripping the defense apart. A bit lucky, of course, with the goal, but quality players, they tend to have a bit of luck as well. I'm really stuck on Diouf or Van de Ven. I think it's really close, to be honest, but I will start Diouf in game week 2, even though he's playing against one of my players, Cole Palmer. I could, of course, start Van de Ven. He was actually the only player that got a return for me last game week, but I can't really see Spurs keeping a clean sheet against Man City. What's your plan? Roll transfer. The plan is just to roll transfer. actually. So I have 2 free transfers going into game week 3. One of the reasons why I'm really tempted to just save is that we know that Kansa will be back, and if Marmoush is benched, I will probably sell him, and my favorite option to replace Marmoush will be Bruno Fernandes, and I need to find 0.5 to upgrade Marmoush to Bruno Fernandes, so having 2 free transfers and doing this for free without having to take a hit is probably the best for my team at the moment. The initial plan was actually to use my bench boost this game week and sell Saka to Bruno Fernandes in game week 3, but I think I need to adjust this plan, and the bench boost is already being delayed. So will Strand Larsen play? I think he will play. Haven't really read any news about any injuries that will keep him out of the game, so Bournemouth looked really good in game week 1 against Liverpool, but it conceded 4 goals. I think Wolves can put a couple past them as well, so Strand Larsen is an okay option for game week 2. The problem with Strand Larsen is that we're not really sure who is on penalties for Wolves. It might be Wang, it might be Strand Larsen, even Arias. But I definitely think that Strand Larsen is a starter for Wolves. Just scared that West Ham could concede loads, but it's a London derby. The problem with West Ham is that they are actually one of the worst teams. I plotted all of the teams into the up-top power rankings before game week 1, and the worst team, Sunderland, they were at the bottom, but I think that's West Ham, they were like 16th, something like that. So it's not like, even though they have a couple of good FPL options like Van Bissaka, Diouf, Jared Bowen, it's not like West Ham are one of the best teams in the league. So of course they can concede a lot of goals, especially if Chelsea score early on. We've seen this earlier. Like, was it game week 2 against Wolves last season? Cole Palmer assisted Madueke 3 times. I think as long as Chelsea score early on, they can potentially score a lot of goals. If Chelsea don't score in the first half, they tend to be a bit frustrated. You can see that Cole Palmer is dropping even deeper to get involved, but without much output. FPL FOMO, Newcastle wants Strand Larsen for 60 million apparently. Wow. So I read the statement from Alexander Isak, and I definitely think that he will not play for Newcastle. So I think that the best option for the Newcastle board is to get rid of Alexander Isak and sell him this window. Still some days left. It's actually 10 days left of the transfer window. So I think there will be a deal in place for Alexander Isak. But 60 million Strand Larsen. Well, he did okay in Spain. He is a regular starter for the Norwegian national team with Erling Haaland up front, so don't really remember his age, to be honest. How old is Strand Larsen? He's like 22. Haaland is the favorite in the captain poll, but it's really, really close. Salah 17, Haaland 29, Cole Palmer 21, and other 33. I'm actually not able to vote, but if if I could, I would voted for other and selected Bukayo Saka. He will be my captain for game week 2. This is actually the main reason why I started the season with Saka. Looks really good on paper. My only worry is that he will blank again. He didn't actually play that well in game week 1. Check the stats. He had an expected goal of 0.21, 22, something like that. And it's not in the bookies anytime goal scorer prediction. It's Gyökeres for Arsenal. But hopefully Saka can prove them wrong in game week 2. The thing is with Saka, he is a big differential, only selected by 16% of the managers. So if Saka score a couple of goals in game week 2, I can actually turn a bad start into a decent start. Mark Burt, when do you plan to use your wildcard? I haven't actually decided which game week to use my wildcard. I think it's a good strategy to keep the wildcard open, because if you say I will use it, definitely use it in game week 13, you might actually miss some good opportunities. And if your team needs it, I think that you should just play your wildcard. Game week 15 will probably be my free hits. There are a lot of good teams in game week. There are a lot of good teams with good fixtures in game week 15, so I will probably play my free hits. But if I haven't used my wildcard until game week 15, I will probably play it in that game week. So game week 15 is a really good game week if you want to target the top teams. They have really good fixtures. Let's have a quick look. Oops. So this is the game week 15 fixtures. There we go. So when do you plan to use your wildcard? I haven't really decided. I'm keeping it open, but if I don't find a good use of the wildcard, I will probably wait until game week 15. I've seen a lot of talk on X about playing it in game week 6 as well. There are some fixture swings for some of the best teams in game week 6, but I think that if you use your wildcard as early as in game week 6, you might actually regret it if you get a lot of transfers a couple of game weeks later. You may regret using your wildcard in game week 6. But of course, I don't really think that there is an ultimate game week to use the wildcard. It's really team dependent. But game week 6 probably a good game week, but this on the screen at the moment is game week 15. A lot of good fixtures for some of the best teams. You can see that Liverpool, they are playing against Leeds in game week 15. Man City at home against Sunderland. Newcastle at home against Burnley. Spurs at home against Brentford. And Man United, they are playing against Wolves. So I think potentially game week 15 will be an interesting game week when it comes to the chips. We know at the moment that before AFCON we will get 5 new transfers as well, so I think this should be in our minds when planning our chips as well. I will have a deep dive into chip strategies and post a video, but at the moment I'm keeping especially my wildcard open. But the initial plan is to use my free hit in game week 15, as mentioned. Do you think Caicedo is a good punt for game week 2 due to the good amount of defensive contributions? I'm not really a fan of the players that heavily relying on defensive contributions. The reason for this is that we know that the defensive contribution points is kept at maximum 2 points. So if you take an example for Caicedo, he gets 2 points if he plays more than 60 minutes. He can potentially get a clean sheet point, so that's 3 points. And with the defensive contributions, that's 5 points. I'm not expecting a lot of attacking returns from Caicedo, so 5 points will usually be the maximum, and this will be a really good game for Caicedo. So 5 points would actually prefer having more explosive players, but he will potentially pick up a lot of 5-pointers. As you say, he will get defensive contribution points, but at the moment I think that there probably are better options. Mark, also, if Wirtz blanks again and struggles, who would you transfer him for? So game week 2 is a big audition for my midfield, both Marmoush and Wirtz. My initial plan was actually to have Saka in game week 1, captain him in game week 2, and transfer him out for Bruno Fernandes in game week 3. If Marmoush or Wirtz disappoints in game week 2, they will be the players that I sell to bring in Bruno Fernandes. Of course, I need to see some positive things from Bruno Fernandes in game week 2 as well, but I think that the pictures for Man United are good in the next couple. So, Faris, do you have Caicedo in your team at the moment and you're considering transferring him out, or do you consider transferring Caicedo in? If you already have Caicedo in your team, I would definitely just play. Thanks for letting me know, Mark. There are some small issues with my microphone still. Not really sure why this is happening, but all of a sudden it gets muted, so I have to unplug it and plug it back in. Not really sure why. Sounds gone. Neil Chesham, thanks for letting me know. Really appreciate it if you let me know in the chat so I can just quickly fix this issue with my microphone. So last Thursday had a really good stream. If you joined that one, thanks for joining in. My best stream so far, actually, last Thursday, with over 1,000 viewers. Who's injured? So far, we know that there are some players that will definitely not play in game week 2. Havertz, he is injured. This is good news for the likes of Gyökeres. Frimpong is injured as well. We have some suspensions, like Konsa will definitely not play in game week 2. Colville is injured, Branthwaite is injured, and we know that Alexander Isak, he will not play in game week 2 as well. Esse, I would probably say that Esse will not play in game week 2. We just got the news that he will be an Arsenal player. Must be really frustrating for Spurs. They have been targeting Esse all summer. They were like intensifying their offers after the Madison injury, but in the last minute, Arsenal came and stole Esse. So Esse to Arsenal is a here we go. Really frustrating, as mentioned, for Spurs fans, and for FPL, I think this makes Esse at the moment a sell. Real R4. My team is Verbruggen, Hermansen, Diouf, De Kuiper, Milenkovic, Guehi, Livramento, Salah, Palmer, Rodgers, Kudus, Reinders, Mateta, Strand Larsen, and Watkins. Really strong team. Don't see any problems with this team at the moment. My priority would be to actually have a plan for Livramento. I know that he did really well, got a clean sheet in game week 1, but I think that Livramento at some point will lose his spot. Lewis Hall did so well, local lad, did so well for Newcastle last season, so I think that Lewis Hall will play really soon. They have Trippier on the other side, Lewis Hall, so Livramento, I think he will be more of a backup like we saw at the start of last season as well. I know Livramento who played a lot at the end of last season, but this was because Lewis Hall was injured. So a really strong team. Who are you going to captain in game week 2 real R4? Go vote in the poll or let me know in the comments. I've heard Frimpong, Bradley are both injured. Joe Gomez has been out of training 3 days in a row. Who on earth are they gonna start at right centre back? I read some news from the press conference today. Bradley, he has actually participated in some minutes at least from the last training session. Joe Gomez is getting close to a return as well. The rumors is that Szoboszlai will play in defense for game week 2. Mark Burt, regret going Salah over Haaland, to be honest. Man City looked great, and currently I've got no City players, which seems crazy. I've held back from getting Reinders, but looking to get some of these players. I definitely agree, and this is one of the reasons why I took a punt on Marmoush. I think the Man City team looks really strong at the moment. They will continue scoring a lot of goals. This was my prediction ahead of game week 1 as well, so this was why I picked Marmoush to kind of cover the Man City attack. Went really wrong, of course. No Marmoush in the starting 11. But hopefully he can start in game week 2. If Marmoush is benched once again, I will probably look to sell him ahead of game week 3. Livramento will definitely go to right back and Trippier will lose his spot. I'm a Newcastle fan. I think Livramento did enough at the end of last season to actually earn a starting spot, but I can see Trippier get a lot of minutes as well. So my advice would be to actually avoid their wingbacks and probably go for Schär instead. He looked good in game week 1 as well. Really close to pick up the defensive contributions. I think he got 11. And we know that he is a big threat at set pieces and he will probably take some free kicks as well. So Schär would be my favored Newcastle defensive option if you want one. Bradley has been training. Yeah, that's what I read. I don't think he's participated in a lot of training sessions, but at least got some minutes on the grass. So I will be really surprised if he's fit enough to start in game week 2, but we might see him from game week 3, game week 4. So let's have a quick look over at X to see. This is your team selection for game week 2 with a bench boost as well. So we should probably see your bench as well. Let's see how this fits into the screen. I will make it a bit smaller like that. So let me know in the chat if this is your team. It was posted under my latest post about this stream over at X. So if you're interested in having a quick look at your team, your game week 1 score, if you want to brag, or if it's your team selection for game week 2, just post a picture and I'll get it up on the screen. So this is a bench boost game week 2 team. Verbruggen in goal. Strong defense with Ait Nouri, Milenkovic, Gabriel, Saka captain, love it. He will be my captain as well. Rodgers, we talked about Rodgers earlier on this stream. I think that he is a really good option for game week 2, to be honest. Mo Salah and Sar. I think Sar is probably a bit underappreciated in the FPL community. Scored in the Community Shield, done well in preseason for Crystal Palace, and he will be close to a talisman for Crystal Palace now. SA has left, so Sar at 6.5 is a really good option in my opinion. Up front, Fulkrug, Chris Wood, and Joao Pedro. I wish I went Chris Wood instead of Mateta. Chris Wood brace in game week 1. So this is a bench boost team. Let's have a quick look at the bench. Dubravka, Kyrgios, Diouf, and Esteve. A really strong bench boost in my opinion. If I had this bench, I would definitely bench boost in game week 2. Dubravka and Esteve. Cheap as they can get, but they will start and they have a good fixture in game week 2. Diouf, not the best fixture, but I will probably start the youth myself, and you have Kudus. And if Spurs score against Man City, I think that Kudus will be involved. He looked really good in game week 1. Good team, bring in Kudus. I agree, Kudus, he looked so good in game week 1. So if Spurs score, he will probably be involved. This is a team posted under my latest post about this stream on X, and it says that it's a bench boost team. So bench boost is active in this team. And if I had this bench, as mentioned, I would hit the bench boost myself. Who's the player you wish you had in your team? Haaland, definitely one of the players I wish I started. I had a Haaland draft. I haven't really considered Mo Salah, to be honest. I had a Mo Salah draft and a video about a Mo Salah draft as well in preseason, but didn't really like it, 14.5. But I had a really good Haaland draft as well, but decided to go against it actually because I wanted Saka for game week 2. Best replacement for Frimpong, Elliot Lindmark. Thanks for joining in. The best replacement for Frimpong, especially if you just want to stay in that price bracket, I think that Ait Nouri definitely is one to consider. Man City looked good in game week 1. Ait Nouri looked really good. Picked up defensive contribution points, bonus points. We know that he can contribute with attacking returns as well. So I think that Ait Nouri is a player to target in the 6 million bracket. It's hard. This real R4, it's hard, but I think Watkins to be captain, or he's gonna suffer from English striker curse after 30. I think Watkins and Aston Villa, that their fixture in game week 2 is a decent one. Brentford did not impress us in game week 1. And if we take a look at the bookies predicted anytime goal scorer, Watkins is actually third. So Haaland is first, 60%, Gyökeres 55%, and Watkins is third with 42%. So quite a gap between Haaland and Watkins, but at least Watkins makes the top 3. Oops. This is my team for game week 2. I like it on paper, and hopefully I will have a better feeling after game week 2 compared to the feeling I had after game week 1. Only 28 points for this team. I think it's a bit weird. There are a lot of solid FPL options in this team. But it is what it is. And if you're interested to join a head-to-head mini league, the link is in the description down below. Code is on the scrolling text at the bottom as well. A head-to-head mini league is, let's say that it has a scoring like in regular football. So you get drawn against an opponent, another player that has joined the league, and the FPL managers that get the most points will get 3 points. And so there's a league table other than a rank system, and if they get similar score they will get 1 point each. Just seen Wirt's top transfer out, surprising. I agree. I think that he didn't look that bad in game week 1. He was one of the most creative players after having a look at the stats, highest, especially when it comes to expected assists. So I think it's a bit surprising seeing Wirt. Your sound again. Thanks for letting me know. Really, really annoying. Need to get a new USB cable for my microphone. Thinks that the microphone isn't that old. It's from December, so only half a year. Adapta, why isn't Subimendi more common? I think it's because he is similar to Caicedo at Chelsea. Same price as well, 5.5. Got defensive contributions in game week 1, I think, so 5 points. So I think that he is a decent option, but not really an explosive FPL option, and will never be a captain contender. But of course, he will continue delivering. But I think that he's kept at maximum 5 points. Can't really see him contribute with assists and goals. So a solid, steady option, but not really explosive. We saw with Reinders in game week 1 that there are good 5.5 options. So I think this is one of the reasons why the Subimendi 5-pointer hasn't been spoken about that much in the FPL community since the Arsenal game. We saw that Anderson 5.5 for Nottingham Forest Not an explosive asset in my opinion, but he's on some set pieces taking corners for Nottingham Forest, and he can get defensive contributions as well. So at that price point, there are a couple of decent options already, and this is probably why Subimendi is not that heavily discussed. So if you're interested in bragging about your good game week 1 score, that's fine. And if you want to have a look at your team selection for game week 2, just post a picture under my latest post on X. Take a screenshot of your team and post it under my latest post on X, and I will get it up on the screen. My current plan is just to save a transfer. The initial plan was to bench boost, but this will be delayed. So saving a transfer, and I will probably make 2 transfers next game week. Marmouche, if he is benched in game week 2, he will be sold. My aim is to have Bruno Fernandes, but I need to find 0.5. So Marmouche out. If Jared Bowen blanks again, if Mateta blanks again, they might have to go as well. Same with Wirtz. Watkins as well. So the pressure is on for my team. I only got 1 return in game week 1, and this was from Van de Ven, the Spurs defender. So 6 points from him, but only 1 and 2 pointers from all the other players. So 28 points in game week 1. I'm really surprised about that horrible start, to be honest, because when I look at my team at the moment, there are a lot of solid FPL options in there. So hopefully they can do well in game week 2. Jared Bowen against Chelsea. This can be a game with a lot of goals. Watkins against Brentford. Brentford did not impress us in game week 1, so hopefully Aston Villa can do well against them. Mateta, definitely on penalties for Crystal Palace at the moment. We know that SA, he will leave Crystal Palace to join Arsenal, so Mateta is the first choice penalty taker. Wirtz, one of the most transferred out players ahead of game week 2, but didn't really look that bad. I know the expectations were really high, of course, done well in the Bundesliga for Leverkusen, but I will have some more patience with Wirtz. And Cole Palmer, we know what he can do on set pieces and penalties for Chelsea. Marmouche is kind of a worry for me at the moment, especially if he's not in the starting 11 for game week 2. He will probably be sold ahead of game week 3. I have Haaland, Watkins, and Salah, who to captain. I think if I had Haaland, I would definitely consider captaining Haaland for game week 2 at home against Spurs. Really good stats as well. He passed the eye test, looked fresh and sharp, and he actually had. Usually we see with Haaland that his expected goal is not matching his outcome, but in game week 2 he actually had 2.5 something in expected goal as well, 2.05. That's really, really good in only 1 game. So Haaland, I would really consider Haaland for captaincy if I had him. So Haaland, Watkins, and Salah, my pick would definitely be Haaland. He is the bookies' favorite for anytime goal scorer as well. Hayden replied to your post on Twitter with my score last week and this week's plan. Let's have a look. Hayden, thanks for joining in. Let's take a look at your team. I remember you posting last Thursday as well. Will be really interesting to have a look on how you did. My team really disappointed. Only 28 points in game week 1. Terrible start, 9 million rank. But hopefully game week 2 can be a good one. Bench boost was a success in game week 1. Sanchez in goal, Marmouche of course a bit unlucky. I remember you picking Marmouche as well. Reinders, Ait Nurin 9 points. Really solid bench boost. 86 points. Double Spurs defense. They were the bookies' favorite ahead of game week 1. Brandon muted. Thanks for letting me know in the chat. This is really helpful. Really annoying as well, of course. I've had some problems with my microphone last week or so. Really annoying. It just gets muted even though I'm not touching it. So there is a quick fix. I just need to unplug it and plug it back in and the sound is back on. But really helpful if you let me know in the chat if I get muted. But really good score this, Hayden. 86 points. Good bench boosts. You had Chris Wood. I was close to picking Chris Wood, but went with Mateta. Gakpo was a really good option as well. Kind of unlucky, of course, with the Wirtz captaincy, but I really like that punt as well. Fuming with the Forest clean sheet wipeout. Unlucky penalty. I think this was the same as with the Everton clean sheet wipeout against Leeds, to be honest. Tarkovsky getting that penalty against him for that handball. I think that Forest and Everton got a bit rubbed, to be honest. Glad I backed Chris Wood. I totally get that. Really good option. Wish I went Chris Wood, but hopefully in game week 2 I can say this about some of my players as well, that I'm glad I kept faith in them, but we'll see. So Hayden posted his team under my latest post over on X. If you're interested in getting your team up on the screen, just head over to X and post a picture. Hayden posted this with his score. He also posted a picture of his game week 2 team selection. So let's have a quick look at that one as well. So this is a lot of new players. A free hit, of course, free hit team for game week 2. Let's have a look at Hayden's free hit team for game week 2. Ref single playing against Burnley. Gabriel in defense, Ait Nouri, Kukureya, so strong defense. Cole Palmer, Semenyo, Saka, Adingra, Van Nilsson, Watkins, Jökers. Can't really fault this team, to be honest. I like the Arsenal triple up at home against Leeds. Adingra, good game against Burnley. Refs, I'm not really sure about Sunderland. I know they did well in game week 1 against West Ham, but can they keep this up? I'm not really sure, but I think for a free hit in game week 2, they are good options. Kukureya, I hope that West Ham will score against Chelsea, but I would actually feel a bit more confident with Kukureya compared to having Jared Bowen up front. So double up with both Kukureya and Cole Palmer is probably a good idea. As mentioned, West Ham did not impress us in game week 1 against Sunderland. Semenyo, of course, he should be included. Red hot form, looked really good. Not did he only score 2 goals against Liverpool, but he looked really sharp in that game. Good in possession, holding off players. So a strong performance from Semenyo in game week 1. Saka, he should be in. You will be my captain. And up front, Evan Nilsson double up with Bournemouth. I think this team is really, really good for game week 2. Another team that didn't impress us in game week 1, Brentford. So having having Watkins up front is hopefully a good idea because I have Watkins myself. So really strong team. I like this free hit team for game week 2. My reason for the Sunderland goalkeeper is they kept a clean sheet in both games against Burnley last season. I think they massively improved since then. Good point. And in this game, they are playing against another, let's call it championship level team. So I can't really see them keeping clean sheets against top 10 from last season, but good chances against Burnley in game week 2, even though they are playing away from home. So like this free team, best of luck. I have some of those players already in my team: Watkins, Cole Palmer, Saka. So hopefully especially those 3 will do well in game week 2. I need to bench one in between Esteve, Porro. Sorry. Esteve, Porro, Williams, Dorgu. I would probably, it's Esteve, definitely the best fixture. So 4 million defender and a 5.5 million defender. The fixture, of course, is really important. I think I would probably take a punt on Esteve, to be honest. But we know Porro can contribute with attacking returns as well on most set pieces for Spurs. So really close one. I'm actually leaning towards saying that Pedro Porro should be in your starting 11. It would really feel bad if you have a 5.5 defender with a lot of points on your bench. If you have a 4 million defender that gets a clean sheet on your bench, this is not the end of the world. So I would actually lean towards starting Pedro Porro, and I would start Williams ahead of Dorgu. Thank you. I'm considering Mayenda up front, but struggling to find who to replace him with. Same with Joao Pedro. So many good attacker options this week and not enough spaces. Yeah, I agree. There are actually I really like taking a couple of thanks muted again just to let you know. Thanks. I really like taking a couple of punts when I'm using my free hit, so Evan Nilsson would probably be my option as well. I haven't really checked his ownership recently. Let's have a quick look. Only selected by 2.3, so Evan Nilsson is actually a big differential, so I really like this front three in a free hit, to be honest. Evan Nilsson, big differential, good fixture. Watkins, good fixture as well. And you have Gyökeres, one of the bookies' anytime goal scorer favorites ahead of game week 2. Good fixture for Arsenal, of course, playing at home against Leeds. So there are a couple of tempting forwards, but I would lean towards get something similar, to be honest. Really need to fix this microphone. I can see every time I get muted, some viewers are going away as well. "22 hours until the deadline." I will have a deadline stream tomorrow. I will try to get that new USB cable before the next stream. What team do you support? I support Man United, but I don't think it's that hard, like distinguishing my FPL picks from my favorite team. So no problem for me going without Man United players. I don't really get affected by Man United being my favorite FPL team. I actually made a video about this a couple of years ago. One of my first videos was actually about something like this, not letting your feelings get in the way of a good FPL rank. So like if you have a favorite player, it doesn't necessarily have to be a good FPL pick. And if you have a favorite team, they don't necessarily have to have good FPL players. So at the moment, because of the fixtures, I went against Man United in game week 1 and game week 2, but my plan is actually to get Bruno Fernandes ahead of game week 3, especially if Marmoush is benched in game week 2, as we saw in game week 1. Varfel 8. Is it okay to wildcard if I feel I made too many mistakes in game week 1? We'll get many transfers for Afghan also. I think that this is what the wild card should be. If you think that you will make at least 4 or 5 transfers, if you have 5 players you want to sell ahead of game week 2, it probably makes sense to use the wildcard. And hopefully you can save up some transfers after using your wildcard. The problem with using the wildcard this early is that, yes, some players did well in game week 1, but we don't have much data to analyze when we consider stats. I don't think that the stats can tell us that much because it's only one game week. But of course, if you have a lot of players you're not satisfied with, go for it. Are there any specific players you want to sell? I think it's, let's take an example. I think it's too early to sell Wirtz. That's a shame. I'm Arsenal, sorry about the results on the weekend. Yeah, I went without any Arsenal in my game week 1 team. Arsenal, they actually don't have that great fixtures. I only picked Saka actually because of the captaincy in game week 2, to be honest. So I wasn't really expecting Saka to do well in game week 1. Of course, he could have gotten something against Man United, but game week 2 is my Saka week. So initially my plan was to have Saka in game week 1 and game week 2 and then change to Bruno Fernandes in game week 3. Hopefully Saka can do well. I will just keep him even though the Arsenal fixtures gets tough. Thanks. Sticking with Bowen, I know that West Ham, they really disappointed in game week 1, but I'm sticking with Bowen. We'll give him at least game week 2, probably game week 3 as well. I think actually, especially if my players disappoints in game week 2 as well, I have to consider wildcarding ahead of game week 3, to be honest. I only got 28 points with this team in game week 1. Van de Ven, he was the only player delivering. The problem with having a bad start is that your team value takes a hit as well, and you don't get price rises, and some of your players will drop in price. So it's not just that you don't get enough points for a good rank, your team value will suffer as well with a bad start. So I think that if my players has a really bad game week in game week 2, I will actually consider playing my wildcard ahead of game week 3. But as mentioned, I'm sticking with this team for game week 2. I think it looks good on paper. I'm really relying on Burnley to do well against Sunderland. I have Diouf playing against Cole Palmer. This is not optimal, but I think Diouf is a bit better than Van de Ven in game week 2. I can see Rice getting the DEFCON and a goal this weekend against Leeds, but it feels like too much of a risk when there's players like Saka and Gyökeres who could haul. I agree. I think Rice actually is a good option. I made a video about my top FPL players from every team, and I mentioned Rice in that video. I had Saka as number 1, Gabriel number 2, and Rice as my third option from Arsenal. He will pick up defensive contributions. I think if Rice was priced at 5.5 or 6, he would be a lot more popular. But I think 6.5 is probably 0.5 too much for Rice, to be honest, because of the position he is playing. But we saw last season that he will contribute with assists and goals. He's on some set pieces, especially corners for Arsenal as well. So I think he actually is a decent option. Do you think SA play against Forest even after heavy link with Arsenal? No, my advice would be to just wait and see when it comes to SA. I think that the transfer to Arsenal actually is confirmed. Hayden, no, his Arsenal medical is tomorrow. He won't play for them again. True. The thing is that he will not play for Crystal Palace. The thing is that when will he be ready to start games for Arsenal? Hayden is an Arsenal fan, so he probably has the latest updates on SA. What I know is that the transfer is confirmed. He will be an Arsenal player. Really, really frustrating for Spurs fans. They have been heavily linked to SA for a couple of weeks, especially since the injury to James Maddison. So seeing SA go to Arsenal must be really, really frustrating. I actually read that there will be some protests this weekend from the Spurs fans. How would a Game Week 2 wildcard look like? I haven't really spent that much time considering a Game Week 2 wildcard, but we can have a quick look at some options. Konsa would be gone. I think I'll just keep Esteve. Van Dijk can stay there as well. Van de Ven is a good option. I really like a couple of players that impressed me in Game Week 1. So if I were to play my wildcard, I would potentially have Ait Nouri. So let's have a look and see if we can build a decent wildcard team. I'd be fuming if supported Spurs. Makes it even worse. Is after their biggest rival. Yeah, true. Another player that impressed me, I just talked about Ait Nouri. Fabian Schär from Newcastle. Strong option in my opinion. I know that Newcastle have a couple of 5 million defenders, but at the moment I think that there will be rotation. As mentioned, Livramento, he had a good game week 1, but he will get competition from Lewis Hall. Livramento, he can play right back of course, but as long as Trippier is fit, I will probably stay away from all of them and go for Schär. In midfield, if I wildcarded in Game Week 2, Saka could potentially actually be in my team. Cole Palmer as well. I would not have Wirtz, not Marmoush, no Arias. Probably not Jared Bowen. That fixture in Game Week 1 against Sunderland looked really, really good on paper. I actually captained Jared Bowen in Game Week 1. What a disaster. He blanked, got 2 points. Captaincy made it 4. So Arias, Mateta is actually a good option at the moment, considering that SA is gone, so he will definitely be the first choice penalty taker. If I were to select a team, I would probably build a Erling Haaland team. So Haaland up front. Let's just keep Watkins and Mateta. Would consider tripling up. Really good value in Reinders. He's 5.6 at the moment, but Man City, they looked really good in Game Week 1, and they have good fixtures as well. So I think Haaland, Reinders, and Ait Nouri are good options. Calafiori, I would definitely stay away from him. He will see some rotations. Lewis Kelly, he is fit. He was on the bench in game week 1, so I think that there will be rotation for him. Achampong, I would avoid him. Of course, it's really tempting with a 4 million starting defender for Chelsea, but I don't think that he will start going forward. Tassin, he was in training, so I think that he will be back to the starting 11 soon. Let's have a look at midfielders. So in this team, I really like the fixtures for Aston Villa. Probably a double up. These are the Aston Villa fixtures. Brentford, Crystal Palace, Everton, Sunderland, Fulham, Burnley, Spurs. So all the way until game week 8, Aston Villa have really good fixtures. So I would probably try to get Rodgers in. One of the reasons why I didn't consider Rodgers for game week 1 was that he was an injury doubt ahead of game week 1. This team is too expensive. If Rodgers is in, I can pick another forward. We'll just pick a fodder in that spot. Let's see if we can get this. And then you have only 4 million for... This was kind of hard, but something like this with Erling Haaland up front, I would have to make some other small adjustments, like maybe Saka to Bruno Fernandes, but I would like to just keep Saka, especially considering their fixture in game week 2. Sundry, hi mate, how are you? Fine, thanks for joining in. Which players has the best prime of a Premier League season? Mine is Luis Suarez, 13, 14. Which players has the best prime of a Premier League season? Mine is Suarez. Suarez was electric that season. I remember that season before he joined Barcelona. He scored for fun. So much energy. One of the seasons I really remember was Sanchez playing for Arsenal. Was it like the 16, 17? So a couple of years later, Alexis Sanchez would probably be my pick. I remember him scoring 4 goals in a game. He was my FPL captain in that game. Maybe Hayden can remember that fixture. It was like 8 years ago, something like that. But that season from Suarez, it actually has to be one of the best FPL seasons. Ronaldo, when he played at Man United before, of course, in the first spell at Man United, he had some good seasons as well. Frank Lampard has had some really good seasons. Even Yaya Toure for Man City. But if I had to select a season, it would be Sanchez for Arsenal. In that season, I think I got a 900 rank in FPL. I think it was 912th in the world. Sanchez was just back from injury, low ownership, my captain, and scored 4 goals. That was a great game week. Funny how Spurs ended up second while being in one horse race. I actually read today that there will be some protests from the Spurs supporters. I think they are really fed up with Levy and the board. I'm not talking FPL related football performance. When it comes to football, I remember those seasons from Ronaldo, as mentioned from his first spell. Suarez had some really good seasons. Aguero, there are a lot of good players. I can't really find an example that will top your Luis Suarez from the 13-14 season. Can't really think of any player that can compete with that season, to be honest. It was just ridiculous. The thing is that season he scored, it's not like he didn't just score a lot of goals. We've seen this from a lot of forwards in the Premier League, from Shearer, from Van Nistelrooy. But the thing is that he scored so many different goals, right? He scored with both feet, with his head. He scored like from so many different angles as well. So he was really fun to watch that season. I totally remember that Suarez. I have seen people talk about Ronaldo 2007, 2008, because he won the Ballon d'Or, but it was overall, I think, only Premier League. I actually forgot Henry. He was so good for Arsenal a couple of seasons. Oh man, this brings back memories. I think Henry definitely better overall better player compared to Mo Salah. I know Mo Salah has had some ridiculous seasons just recently and set some new records, but Henry, watching him play, drive in from the left, curl it with his right foot. The goalkeeper knew what he was going to do, but just couldn't stop him. Scored a couple of ridiculous goals against my club, Man United, as well, where he just like chipped the ball up in the air and just really, really nice. Henry, definitely, even though I'm not an Arsenal supporter, I can appreciate Henry, to be honest. Can I have a look on my team? Definitely. Have you posted a picture over on X? I haven't really checked in a while. I started making a wildcard team. Wasn't really satisfied, to be honest, but it would look like something that's on the screen at the moment. I would try to fit Erling Haaland in. He looks really good. Looked sharp in game week 1. Good stats, passed the eye test. So, but as mentioned, I haven't really spent that much time considering a wildcard team. I will just keep my players and give them one more chance in game week 2. So the team that's on the screen will be my game week 2 team. Let's head over to X. This was Hayden's free hit team. Couldn't really fault that one. Looked really good, to be honest. Archgrill, this team was up on the screen earlier on the stream. Let's have a look. I can't really see your team, Sandri. The easiest way is if you post a picture under my latest post over on X. I can just quickly get it up on the screen. Take a screenshot and post a picture of your team under my latest post on X, and I'll quickly find it and get it up on the screen. So if you're interested, go join the head-to-head mini league. I think the point scoring system in the head-to-head mini league is quite fun. So there is a draw before the game week, and you will play against another FPL manager. So you're competing against each other. So the one with the best score in that given game week will get 3 points. If you get similar score, you will get 1 point each. I don't have Twitter, but my ID is, let's see. This was not possible ahead of game week 1, but I will try to get your team on the screen with your team ID. Give me a minute. So this is Sandri's team. It actually worked. I just had to copy your team ID, replace it with my own. So Sanchez in goal. I was close to picking Sanchez, but went for Cells. Both of them really good options ahead of game week 1. Sanchez and Cells. But Sanchez, Pedro Porro, clean sheet as well. Van Dijk picked up defensive contribution points. I was really, really glad I started the season with Van Dijk, especially after that first half in game week 1. But they conceded 2 goals So only 3 points for him. Aina as well. Mo Salah, captaincy, Cole Palmer. You have Reinders in there as well. Kudus, solid options. Up front, Gyökeres, Watkins, and Fulkrug. Really good team in my opinion. Could actually have had a better score in game week 1 as well. Gyökeres did not impress in game week 1, but he is one of the bookies' favorites for anytime goal scorer in game week 2. So I think that Gyökeres is a good option in game week 2. Fulkrug looks to be nailed on playing up front in that West Ham team. They will I think that he will start most games, and if they go to one forward, Jared Bowen will move to right wing. So Fulkrug is a good option as well. Watkins, good fixture in game week 2. It was kind of frustrating having Watkins and a blank in game week 1. Same goes for Cole Palmer. Of course, Reinders, Kudus really smashed it, especially Kudus. I think that he is a really good option. Looked electric in game week 1. Mo Salah. On your bench, Estev, Konsa, same as me. That strong team. I get the goalkeeping dilemma in this team, to be honest. I would be tempted to go for Dubravka. It looks really good on paper, especially seeing you have Fulkrug as well. I would go Dubravka and Fulkrug. So avoid having Sanchez play against Fulkrug. So bench Sanchez, play Dubravka. And I think that Fulkrug definitely is a much better option than Granit Xhaka. So Dubravka, Fulkrug would be my game week 2 picks, to be honest. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I think that I usually try to avoid having my defenders play against my midfielders and forwards, but I can't avoid this in game week 2 myself. I will have Diouf playing against Cole Palmer. I could swap Diouf and play Van de Ven, but this would mean that Van de Ven would play against Marmoush, so I can't avoid it, but I think Dubravka and Fulkrug are decent options for game week 2. Captain Salah, it's definitely the safest option. Salah didn't impress me in game week 1, but of course we know it's Mo Salah. He can score against anyone. So I think Mo Salah is a solid and safe option. So let's have a quick look at the captain poll. It's really, really close. Mo Salah 26%. Holland is the leader with 30, so only 4 points, 4% dividing number 1 and number 2. Cole Palmer 18% and 26 for others. So if you're interested, I will have a deadline stream tomorrow as well. We'll be on a couple of hours before the deadline. If you can't make it tomorrow, best of luck for game week 2. My computer has low battery. I just got notification. Let's see. There are some power saving settings on at the moment. But thanks all for joining in. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next live session. I usually have a Q&A the night before the deadline, and I have a deadline stream as well. Before each game week, I post weekly videos with players to buy, captain options, players to avoid, stuff like that, and my team selection as well. So if you're interested, go subscribe to that channel. And if you're interested, it would really help the channel if you go watch my videos as well to up the watch time a bit. That would be really, really appreciated. So thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. But if you can't make it tomorrow, best of luck for game week 2.